Welcome back to the Dynamic Duo Presents. But wait a minute. Oh, wait on a minute. Wait a minute. Right, we've got a beautiful Texan.
So, guys,
Who's that guy?
I just woke up here and the live stream was on, so I thought I would just join in.
Well, yeah. So, guys and girls, as you can see, we have Critical Drinker with us, and we're going to say a big thank you to him for taking some time out of his day to come on this channel. And yeah,
appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you, sir. Thank you, man.
yeah. So, without further ado, this is Get to Know the Drinker. So, we're going to be asking him a few questions, and obviously, eventually, at some point, we'll throw it over to the audience. But remember, guys, keep it civil and keep it non-personal. That's just one rule of the stream.
Sounds good.
For sure, man. Yeah,
So-
just be nice, man. We all family up in here.
Exactly. So, Danny, if you want to kick off with your first question.
Okay, so drinker, I mean, like, it was an honor to meet you, like in Houston, man, like Anime Matsuri, man. And like one of my questions is, like, I remember, like, I know you've been talking about superhero fatigue, and like me and Adam, like when we were first talking about this, like, cause Adam, you remember when we were on Kings of Pop Culture, and you said like, no, people are not tired of superhero movies, people are tired of crappy superhero movies. So,
Yep.
how do you feel on that part, my man? Like, what could they do? Is it superhero fatigue, or is it like, what do you think, my man? Yeah.
I think you can only have the same thing so many times before you're going to get bored of it. Like, man, you could love fucking chocolate cake, and like you could have the most delicious chocolate cake made for you every day, but eventually, after like a month or two, you're going to get kind of sick of it. And it's kind of the same with movie genres. And I think superhero fatigue, just like Western fatigue or comedy fatigue, it would set in eventually. I think it was something that was going to happen sooner or later. I think it's been accelerated by the oversaturation of the market with so many movies over the past few years, especially the fact that they've become kind of generic, especially from Marvel, like it's just an assembly line of stuff. The fact that you've then been bombarded with all the TV shows as well. It's just brought that on a little bit quicker. And yeah, the fact that they've been low quality as well, like the actual quality of the writing has declined. Yeah, for me, it's something that was going to happen eventually, but like this has just brought it on a few years sooner. And it's fine. Like the genre is never going to disappear altogether. Like if you release a Batman movie 20, 30 years from now, people will still watch it because characters like that are iconic. It just means it's not going to be the dominant force at the box office anymore, and that's okay. I think we're ready to move on to some other stuff now, to try new things.
Yeah,
and that's
right. Because I agree. Because like you saw with Barbie and Oppenheimer and all those other movies, like my only fear is, and drinker, I know I'll be watching your show. Go check it out, guys. Is like, the studios are going to get the wrong message, like, because like going forward, because this new Barbie movie that's about to come out, I'm a little interested. I ain't even gonna lie, but that's how I feel a little bit.
I think you can usually rely on them to take the wrong messages from basically everything. Like the example that we used, obviously, was Top Gun Maverick from last year, which was a huge success. But part of the reason that was successful was it was an old school sort of action movie with a male lead, like a male hero who wasn't instructed, who wasn't broken down, and didn't need to be taught a thing or two by the next generation. Maybe had some wisdom to impart to them instead. That was the key elements that made it so successful. It was respectful to the past, and it also told a cool new story. Obviously with great action sequences and all that stuff. But I think what Hollywood probably took from it was just like, we need more nostalgia, we need more key jangling. We just need to reference.
We need a Top Gun universe. Yeah. That's what we need. We need a Top Gun universe.
If you were in charge of it, it would be the Top Gun cinematic universe. And all of the pilots in that movie would get their own spin-off films and TV shows and stuff. There'd probably be like a sitcom set in Penny's bar at the beach, you know, just like everything.
Because even because I was gonna say even Martin Scorsese even like put out an article the other day, like I think it was yesterday. Am I right, Adam? Like he's just tired of the franchises or whatever. Like, you know.
He's exactly right.
So,
you know, I think he's spoken about this before, where he's like, superhero movies are just the death of cinema because it's not quality storytelling anymore. It's like the difference between I don't know, having a home cooked meal that you spent all afternoon making versus like McDonald's and having a Big Mac.
Mm.
You know, the one has like care and thought and love put into it. The other one just has, it's just assembly line garbage. You know, and that's what you're getting now. And so, I fully agree with what he's saying. Like, this genre just needs to end, at least for the time being. We need to move on to ideally like lower budget movies that are a bit more inventive. Because I think spending 50 to 100 million on a movie, which is still a crazy amount of money, but it's pocket cheap for Hollywood. You can afford to take more risks and tell more interesting stories. When you've got $300 million on the line, that's when everything gets designed by committee, and you just get movies that are constantly rewritten and playing it as safe as possible, and you end up with things like The Dial of Destiny or The Flash.
Oh God! Please don't remind us of that movie.
Oh Lord, no!
I ended up doing a review with our friend Stu, and he went into like this beautiful nuanced take of why it was so bad, and it was one of the best things I remember seeing. Like, and this guy is very much more nicer when it comes to movies than we are. So the fact that he could go in on it says a lot.
Shout out to Stu, my man. He's amazing.
I never met you, Stu, but you sound awesome.
My first question is, I'm going to go generic because, you know, why not? I've always wondered what did make you start YouTube? Is it just because you sat there drinking on a couch being critical of movies and was like, hey, actually, wait a minute, I've got a plan?
No, there's never a plan, man. Honestly, it's just you react to what happens. But for me, it was just way back in the day. Like, we're talking like 10 years ago. It was just the novelty of making videos, editing stuff together, and reviewing things. There's something just really interesting about breaking down a story or a movie or game, whatever, discussing what works, what doesn't, and I just enjoyed doing it. And as it turns out, like, I was really into like writing at the time as well, and wanting to get like a book career going, and I got a publishing deal. Probably just as my channel was starting to get a tiny bit of momentum. I mean, it was small still. It only had a few hundred subscribers, but it was just starting to gather a bit of pace. But I got that deal, and I thought, well, I can't be doing this and trying to write books at the same time. I need to choose. So I decided to focus my attention on that instead, like my publishing career, and ended up publishing like 9 books.
Damn. Nice.
But, flash forward, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years, and we just got to this era of cinema that we're in now, where the MCU was just starting to kick in. The Last Jedi, we had Ghostbusters 2016, and it was just me just like recognizing, hey, films are getting a bit shit now. Like, and why is this happening? And I want to discuss this. And I thought, well, maybe I can try and apply some of what I've learned as a writer and a storyteller to this, and try and understand what the problems are and how they can be fixed. And so that's what I started doing. And the critical drinker thing just came about because I had a few drinks when I did one recording session, and I was slurring my words. And it's stupid, but then I thought, fuck it, it's kind of funny. Let's just see what happens when I roll it, and went with it.
I'm sorry, man. My favorite video is like when you were just roasting Captain Marvel, man. When like I saw because like I remember just watching it. Like, finished watching Captain Marvel, and I said, this movie was horrible. And then, like, I'm scrolling up, and I see, like, why Captain Marvel is a good movie. And then I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, my goodness, this dude is hilarious, man.
It was all born from this weird attitude that they have in Hollywood now, where it's like nothing happened beyond 5 years ago. So it's like, we got Captain Marvel. Finally, we have a female hero that we can all, like, appreciate. And I just thought, wait,
Wonder Woman?
like we've had like decades of awesome female characters.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about them a little bit. And so how can I do this in a way that'll be funny? And I thought I'm just going to be sarcastic as fuck and just praise the hell out of this character in this movie while showing the exact opposite on screen. And yeah, man, that was the one that took off. And I went from getting a few thousand views per video to get like 1 million views. I'd never seen anything like it. And yeah, that was the beginning of the Critical Drinker, really.
That's awesome because I find it even funnier because that's the one thing that, like, when I first met Danny, he was like, God, you're very sarcastic. And I'm like, that's just a Scottish thing.
Yeah. It really is.
So
I was dying laughing with your Peter Pan and Wendy video, man.
Oh,
when
God.
you say this is coming, oh my goodness, this is the bestest ever. I was like, you got like over like what's it over like 22,000 views on it when it first dropped or something within the first hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, videos like that. You know they're going to do well because you know there's a lot of interest in the movie or whatever, and it's just like, okay, let's have a bit of fun with it.
So, well, my next question would be, because obviously we know you love to be critical of movies, but what would you say are some good movies and shows that you would like to give a shout out to give people to actually go watch?
Oh god, I mean the most recent one would be One Piece on Netflix. I was very
Yeah.
Oh yes,
it is
it's actually good. It's actually good.
super likable characters. I mean the world building stuff is insane, but somehow it all works in the context of what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So that was really good. The one I'm still trying to persuade Mo to watch was a South Korean zombie action thriller called All of Us Are Dead. It was like a 10-episode series or something. Really good. Again, just like the characters are great. The action sequences are awesome. Like it's all like big long take fight scenes and stuff. Really cool. Really like that. And then
What was the name of that one again?
All of Us Are
All of Us Are Dead. Okay, cool. I'll put that on my list.
It's very appropriate for this time of year as well. We're getting into Halloween, so
Hell yeah.
Especially for Halloween. Danny,
Oh yeah.
have you got a question?
So okay, so I'm gonna spice it up a little bit. So, like, the writer strike. I already know where you stand on that and everything. So, like, how do you feel like going forward? Because I'm in the camp, and I think you might be in the camp, and I don't know about you, Adam. Like, I'm in the camp of you guys got your money. Now, we as the fans expect you to do better now. Like, we are going to be just as critical on you now. So, how do you feel going forward with that, Drinker?
Yeah, man. If you're making like 14 grand a week, you better be writing fucking Shakespeare, man, because like that's what you get. Justify your existence, because yeah, they essentially have gotten everything they wanted. They wanted the protection from AI, which is funny because it's probably better at writing than most of them are. They wanted their pay raise, so they got that, and they wanted the minimum number of writers in the writers' room. So I think with anytime you do a TV show and it's got to write like the next episode, you're gonna have like 17 writers in the room, like all trying to like have their thoughts and their voices heard. How on earth you're supposed to coordinate that many people and come up with a cohesive story, I have no idea. If it was me and I was the overall writer, I would just say, right, other 15 people, you go and sit in the corner, put on your thumbs, play a game of cards, whatever. I'll do this, and we can talk at the end. So yeah, I don't expect things to improve in terms of the overall writing quality. I would rather say we should have fewer writers, but we'll just take the cream of the crop, the ones who are actually good at what they do, which is probably about 10% of the Hollywood writers now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to follow that up with a very important question, especially because some of our one of our friends is in here, and the reason why we all became friends was a show called Cobra Kai. I've always wondered, do you actually enjoy the show?
Are you kidding?
Exactly.
I love Cobra Kai.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
I was so like ready for that to be a total disaster when I started watching it. I thought this is some low budget TV show on like a YouTube streaming service that like came and went like a fart in the wind. But it got me right from the first episode with Johnny Lawrence and like the just the goofy stuff that he gets up to, how he's just like being transported out of the 1980s into the present day.
Yeah.
It's like it's not afraid to mock modern day culture. It's so funny and it's just so well done. But there's a lot of heart to it as well. So the writers there just got the perfect balance. I really love Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
it's that passion stuff that I think that's missing from writing, man. It's like these guys love the show. I mean, not to go back to like Kenobi or something, because there were like rumors and saying that the writers didn't even know that Darth Vader and Anakin were the same person. I'm like, why are you gonna pick up the project if you don't even like have that? You know what I'm saying? But
the difference right, between these guys who fought to get this show made because they were passionate about the Karate Kid universe, and they came up with the concept and they pitched it to studios and eventually got it made because they cared about it, versus something like Kenobi where the studio had already decided they were making this thing and they brought in people to oversee it and write it. So they probably didn't care. It was just a job to them. And most of them were more interested in putting their own spin on it and telling their own stories and pushing the message. And you see the difference in the quality of it.
Yeah.
It's like night and day.
Also, I just want to also know, like, why does every Jedi have to be an old hermit now? Like, they've done it with every single one, even Ezra Bridger, man. Like, even he was like an old hermit when he showed
we were laughing about this on Open Bar, right? Because that episode where Sabine arrives on the planet where he is, and she gets attacked by all these raiders who are trying to kill her, and we were all thinking the same thing. Ezra's going to show up and save her, because that makes sense. That's what would happen in the story to introduce him. It's like, okay, it shows that he's a badass. He can still, he wants to help his friend, and then they'll have a big emotional reunion. No, she just beats their asses and then goes to the village where he's at, and he's just like in a tent, like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?"
Drinker, you should know better. Like, this is the modern day age. We can't have men saving women. It's not right.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? Because once you notice stuff like that, once you realize that's the rule that they're working to, you see it cause so many problems in their TV shows and their movies.
Yeah.
Adam, Jurassic World. Remember, Adam, when we were in our review with Jurassic World, we're like,
because the thing is that obviously we were big Jurassic Park fans, but Danny didn't notice a lot of the subtle things of Jurassic World. I'm like, do you not notice the message in this? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he's running in heels the whole movie. Like, that's not possible. Not getting chased by a dinosaur.
All of this stuff, right? Because sometimes it is quite subtle at the time, like the Ezra not saving Sabine, but then she goes and finds him later and stuff. It's perfectly summed up by that old Plinkett quote, where it's like, "You might not have noticed this, but your brain did." It's subconscious. Yeah, it's just putting that little seed there.
No, it's totally right, because we usually go back and watch a lot of movies, and one of the things that we even noticed in some of the movies that we loved growing up, we're like, wait a minute, the message was still here. It wasn't as in your face, but even in the first Jurassic Park, there was still some of that, and we were like, oh, this has been going on for a while now.
No, Adam. Our favorite, because Joker, like, we have a guilty pleasure on here. We like Batman and Robin. It's a guilty pleasure. We know it's not a good movie, but it's a guilty pleasure. I have to emphasize that, fans. It's guilty pleasure. But like, there's a part where Batgirl saves the boys from Poison Ivy, and like he says like, "What's your name?" Batgirl. Don't you mean like Batwoman or Bat Person or whatever? I'm like, oh my goodness, no.
I also called out the fact that she had no prior training to this fight scene, but all of a sudden she's doing the exact same as Batman. I'm like, what?
Yeah. That film is special in so many ways.
It's one of the best worst movies of all time, I swear.
Yes, best worst one. Arnold Schwarzenegger saved that movie.
Yeah, to have such an amazing cast as well. It's like George Clooney, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman, all together in the same film. Yeah, what killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age.
The Ice Age.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
I
Oh my
love,
goodness.
I love that stuff, man. Like seriously, that's what makes it so good for us, though. It's like we know it's a bad movie, but it's you're never gonna get a movie like that again. No as bad as that.
No.
We like high
Oh
profile.
my goodness. Because like there was just some things in the movie you're like, huh. She's basically doing a striptease, and that I don't think this will ever pass in like in today's media. I don't think so. Adam, do you think so? Drinker, do you think so?
Oh, God,
No.
I just watched The Expendables 4 the other day, right?
Oh,
And a terrible movie, but there was one that I really appreciated where it's like Megan Fox just walks in like a tank top with no bra on, and it's just hilarious. It's so totally unnecessary, but they absolutely knew what they were doing with that scene, and it's just like that would never be shown in a mainstream movie now. It just wouldn't be allowed.
It was the
Like,
same
that
in
degree of
Transformers.
sexualization, not allowed.
It was the same in Transformers. You know how many scenes of that movie was just Megan Fox bending over like the hood of the car, fixing it.
They didn't hire her for her acting talent, that's for sure.
Of course not.
So,
oh man.
The next
go
question
ahead.
I've got written down is, so obviously you've been able to make your channel quite big. So what would you give some people advice if they wanted to start a channel, and what would you say is the best way to go about doing these sort of things for those people that might be a bit scared to?
I mean, first and foremost, you want to talk about things that you genuinely care about, because if there's nothing worse than like seeing someone who's just they're trying to chase the algorithm or something, and you can tell that they don't really care about the thing that they're reviewing or whatever, because it just comes across they sound kind of lackluster and bored. So first and foremost, that would be my main piece of advice. Obviously, you would hope that the thing that you're passionate about isn't going to be like the history of basket weaving on the Shetland Islands or something a bit more relevant. But if you are going to do things like video games or movies or whatever, then it makes sense to cover things that are new and current. That's a good way to get attention, because people will be looking for that stuff. Ideally, you can find that and you actually care about it, then great. And yeah, try to have fun with it. Try to be funny. Just don't take it too seriously. Don't be afraid to crack a joke, and just try and find a way to bring your personality through into it. Like, everyone's got quirks to their personality, whether they're like really dry humored or whether they're like big and outgoing and bombastic. Whatever that is, just try and tap into that, and don't try and play against type. So if you are very like dry and analytical, don't try and be like crazy and outrageous and stuff, because it's not going to fit you. Just play to your strengths, I suppose, as a content creator, and you'll gradually find the style that works for you.
Yeah, that is some really good advice. Also, there is one viewer question, and this is the guy that has done all the amazing art that you've seen on the channel as of late, like the Robin and the Batman. So this is Matthew Mint, and he's asking, "Hey Drinker, I love the open bar. Always got me through days in the office. What's your biggest guilty pleasure movie?"
I just reviewed it actually recently on my second channel. It's called Fatal Deviation, and it's Ireland's first, last, and only martial arts movie.
That's amazing.
What?
Done on a budget of £10,000, and it's a thing of absolute beauty. Every single person in it is an absolute plank of wood. It's ludicrous. And it's
my goodness,
fun. I think you can actually get it on YouTube for free. It's just there. Someone's uploaded it and no one cares anymore. It's so goofy, but
that's amazing.
So since you're a fan of martial arts movie, that has actually put another question in my head. Have you ever seen Kung Pao?
Yes.
I love that movie.
Kung Pao.
I always get that mixed up with the other one, which is like Kung Fury. So Kung Pao is like the redub of like older martial arts movies and stuff. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. I love the guy where it's just like, don't listen to him. He's an idiot. We've been intentionally training him wrong for fun.
So Drinker, so basically like you growing up, so like you were like into because from what I've seen from all your YouTube videos, like you have like a lot of things from the Predator, from the Enter the Dragon, stuff like that. So you grew up on a lot of action and martial arts movies. So like what would you say, what was some of your favorite action movies and martial arts movies like growing up or
It was
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely more action than martial arts, but
Mm.
yeah, like some of the favorites I've probably covered on my channel already. It would be things like Predator, both Terminator movies, Aliens, Jurassic Park, I guess, The Matrix. Like the the sort of late 80s, early 90s was like the formative years for me in terms of like the movies that I saw. And yeah,
Yeah.
those big macho 80s movies were just fantastic, man. You couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some of my favorites. Probably the Rambo films as well, and the Rocky movies. You know, all of those were just great fun.
Did you like Last Action Hero?
Not really.
Didn't
Like,
think so. Most people don't. Most people don't.
I'll
For
tell
me,
you, it's an interesting one because I watched it at the time as a kid, and I think it was marketed more as a conventional action flick. That's what the trailers made it seem like, and so that's what we all expected. And it was just this weird satirical, like meta-aware movie that none of us really understood because we were just little kids at the time. Watching it now, I can see what they were going for. I think the concept was really cool. I just think the implementation was a bit shit. But it was a bold move from Arnold to try something like that. I think in the early 90s, he was kind of interested in branching out a little and just rather than just doing conventional action flicks all the time, he wanted to do things a bit more interesting. That's why you got Total Recall. That was great. Like, really interesting movie that you can get a lot out of. It was more than just an action film. But yeah, it was a misjudged film, was Last Action Hero.
Oh, cool. So, one of my this is going to be like probably one of my last questions. Then, obviously, if you've got any more, is did you ever aspire to just work in the industry before you even decided to do YouTube? Did you just want to be a writer, or did you want to like work as a director or any of those sort of things?
Yeah, I mean, being a writer is something I've loved doing. You know, storytelling is fundamentally what I love, and you know, whether it's analyzing what other people have done or telling my own, or, you know, I'm in the fortunate position where I get to do both now. So that was my main thing. I never had any aspirations to be like a movie star or anything like that. Never really wanted to be in front of the camera. I did a little bit of work as an extra back in university just because it paid the bills and it was easy. Most of it was just sitting around in a van like all day waiting to get called to set. So that's great. Yeah, that was really it. Like I certainly don't have aspirations to be a director either. Like that's not really my strength. Like if I could do screenwriting, I'd be quite happy to, you know, have a go at that.
To be fair, I think everybody that like enjoys your content would probably enjoy if you'd done a bit of script writing because at least we know we'd be getting substance these days.
We're gonna get some substance, man. Like, cause I told my friends the other day, I'm like, man, listen, I'm sorry. It's just not superhero movies that are suffering. It's just like movies in general. Like, ain't no substance. Like, it's like it's boring. It's like watching paint dry sometimes. And that's why I just said, like, I'd rather just go back and rewatch some old movies. Like, no offense to the new ones. Like, it just feels like they got no heart, man. Like,
I mean, we're lucky in that we've got decades and decades of like older movies, you know, most of which none of us have seen because there's just so many. We'll never get through them all. So it's not like we're ever going to run out. And that's the great thing. It gives you an opportunity to discover older stuff that you might have passed up before.
Yeah. So, Danny, have you got any remaining questions?
I got like, just got one more question, man. So, like, you know, I already talked about the writers, but like, Drinker, what do you think the actors need to do, and like the owners of the studio need to do to at least try to get the fans back on good terms or whatever? I know they probably never gonna do that, but like if you was like in charge of like, you know, the Hollywood scene or like you were like the actor's manager, what would you have them do or whatever?
I would say, you know, a single piece of advice: just talk about the movie. Don't talk about your political views. Don't talk about the social causes that you want to represent, and don't talk about how you're redefining the genre or updating it for modern audiences. No one gives a shit about any of that stuff. It's so you can see it from like movies from 20, 30 years ago, especially like the early 2000s when DVDs were just coming in. So you started getting a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You get interviews with the actors and stuff. They were just excited to be talking about the movie and the character that they were playing. That was it, and it was interesting. You're interested to hear their thoughts on it. because that's their job. They're an actor. Okay, I want to hear what you think about the character you're playing. I want to hear about the preparations that you did for the role, the training, whatever it is, your funny anecdotes on set. I don't give a shit about what you think about the current presidential candidates or any of that stuff. That's not your job to know about that. You know, you can talk about that in your spare time, fine. Just don't shove that down my throat. So yeah, that would be my big piece of advice to them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be in agreement with that, especially myself, because ironically, when we talked about Captain Marvel earlier, the one scene for me that only made that movie good, but not even good, it was just that one scene that was good, is that Stanley was reading the script to a much better movie called Mallrats.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I liked about it. And I was just like, why did it have to be in this movie?
Oh, don't worry. Like, the Marvels will be fantastic. I'm sure it's going to.
I cannot wait for that movie. Totally going to be 10 out of 10 best movie of the year. I swear, indeed.
I think so.
For sure, man. For sure. Like,
$1 billion movie right there, for sure.
Because, like, I'm like looking at almost like every single franchise movie. They got to put something in there about the election, about the politics, about January 6th, all that, man. I'm like, white privilege, all that stuff. What? Why? Like, it has nothing to do with a superhero movie at all. Like, it's like.
How many times do you hear people say, like a writer or a director or an actor saying, like, "Oh, this bad guy in this movie is like an allegory for Trump." Oh, fucking hell! Let it go. And a lot of that was carried on for years after he wasn't even president anymore. It's like, what are you doing?
This song's dedicated to Trump because we don't like it. It's like, let it go.
Yeah.
It's like, because like my thing was this. Like, I like the Batman. My friends like the Batman. We got different points of views on the Batman, on the Kings of Pop Culture. Love you guys, but anyway. We always argue, but like my thing was this. I said like the main two things that I that was my main gripes about of the Batman was like the Riddler just not having any personality or substance. He's just a psycho. He's not Edward Nygma. And also it was just like some of like the political stuff of like, you know, when Zoe Kravitz was like talking about like these white dudes having privilege and stuff. I'm like, first of all, she would have not said that. Selena would not have said that. Like, just knowing the character and just watching Batman lore and stuff like that. It was just like, I like this movie, but man, it got its issues. But I still like it or whatever. So,
also, Matthew Min says waiting on Drinker recommending Samurai Cop best movie ever.
Yeah, talking about guilty pleasure. Yeah, I'll get that.
Well, I think it's about time we start wrapping this up, but thank you, Drinker, for taking some time out of your very busy schedule to come on our channel. And also, if there's any sort of like things you would like to plug, or even some of your friends' channels you would like to plug before you leave, that was your time, bud.
The only thing that's going on right now, I've got the Critical Doggo plushie that we're selling. It's got like another week or so left on it. And yeah, I think we're almost at 2,000 that we've sold. So the response has been amazing. And like all the profits that get made from this, I'm going to donate to like a Greyhound rescue shelter.
Oh.
So
okay, nice.
It's going to a good cause. So if people are inclined to help out, then feel free. If not, no hard feelings. It's fine.
Right, awesome. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I have been Kanan Wolf. That has been MMA King Creech Jr. And I can't believe I get to say this. And that's been the Critical Drinker.
Go away now.